How's it going, everyone? It is Andre Williams, and over here we talk stocks and we focus on one thing. Always protect your profits. And today we're going to be talking about Camber Energy CEI. And if you guys remember in my previous video over the weekend, I told you to look for the breakout. What did we get? We had a very nice breakout. I know many of you were able to make some good money on this play. I know a few traded inside of the Discord. So you know what? I'm going to get you guys prepared for the coming week. Let's not waste any more time and let's get into the agenda. If you're new to this channel, I just want to let you know we have timestamps down below inside the description. But if you're a shareholder, you're thinking about taking a position, I highly suggest you watch this full entire video. So the first thing we're going to go over is the technical analysis. We're going to be taking a look at the overall price action. We want to know support. We want to know resistance. We want to know what it looks like in the bearish case scenario and as well as in the bullish case scenario. And then we're going to go on Fintel, taking a look at the recent short interest information. The reason why this is important because it does have an impact on the way the stock performs. And then we're going to be taking a look at the order flow distribution. We want to know the buying and the selling behavior on the retail side and as well as on the institutional side. And then when all of that is done, we'll be going into the final thoughts and as well as some more details. So let's get to it. So we're going to do a technical analysis for CEI Camber Energy. Let's see how it performed on the day. So it ended up closing at $1.28, being up 64.10%. On the low, it tested 85 cents, and then on the high, testing $1.47. When we take a look at the volume stats on the day, you could see we traded at 632.21 million shares, and the average volume over 10 trading days is at 154.556 million shares. So when you see this kind of buying volume coming into the stock, you're going to see strength like this. Now, when we take a look at our chart, which is a daily chart, we can see from the RSI down below, it is at 77.14. And then when we take a look at our moving averages here on the chart, we are above the 21-day EMA, as well as for the 50-day, the 200-day, and as well as the 100-day. No surprises there due to the pop that we had. We did end up seeing a high of $1.47 on the day, and of course, we're going to have some profit taking. And as far as for the low on the day, we ended up seeing around 85 cents. So going into tomorrow, the level that I want to see hold up for Camber, most preferably if we end up having a pullback, would be right here around $1.22. And the reason being is I feel a lot more buyers will step in, especially if we see more demand coming into the oil and energy sector due to what's going on in our geopolitical environment. So holding up $1.22 will be key. Now, as far as where I want to see us get above, it's definitely going to be right here at $1.50. The moment we are able to get above $1.50, I'm going to be looking for a move for us to make all the way up here to around $1.80. This is very achievable, and upon breaking $1.80, that's where I want to see that move to $2. Of course, we can have some profit taking here, so that's one thing you want to be aware of. So make sure you have an exit strategy, or you want to make sure that you're taking profits alongside with your position, or you want to make sure that you do some trimming. But it is very easy for this stock to move very quickly, and we've seen this in the past where it ended up seeing a 52-week high of around $4.85. So just one thing to be aware of, but again, protect your profits, protect your initial investments. This is very key. But in the meantime, ride this uptrend that we're seeing in this oil and energy sector. Now let's move on to the short interest information. So we're going to take a look at the short interest information for CEI. So for the off exchange short volume ratio, it is at 51.62%. And then for the off exchange short volume, it is just over 63.06 million shares. Scrolling down further on the page, the short shares availability is at 0, updated 28 minutes ago. And then for the short borrow fee rate, we have the max being at 2.40% with the minimum being at 2.39%. When we take a look at the history of the short volume, we can see for the close of March the 3rd, it was at 48.64. And then for the close of the 4th being at 51.62. So it will be no shocker, it will be high when the latest numbers come out in the evening, but one thing that is clear, Camber does continue to have short squeeze potential. So now let's move on to the order flow distribution. Now let's take a look at the order flow distribution for CEI. So we see on the inflow, it's at 163 million versus on the outflow of 151 million. So we ended up having an inflow day. Taking a look at the breakdown, on the large, it was 40.57. On the medium, it was 94. And then on the small, it was 28. Taking a look at the outflow side, we can see on the large, it was 42.77. On the medium, it was 86.02. And then on the small, it was 22.26. Taking a look at the large scale orders in the last 5 days, you can see from March the 7th, it being at negative outflow of 2.2 million. Analyzing the numbers even further for the small scale orders that tends to represent the retail side, we had more buying than we had selling. And then when we take a look at what happened on the medium, we had more buying than we had selling. And then when we take a look at the large, which represents whales, institutions, and funds, we had more selling than we had buying. But keep in mind, it was very close. And then when we take a look at the turnover ratio, it was at 256.37%. So that is crazy high right there. But that just shows us there were a lot of traders that were going in and out of this play. And if you remember what I said in my previous video, there's also a lot of bag holders. And I'm pretty sure they were able to sell out of their positions when it turned green, especially when we got above $1. So going into tomorrow, I feel things are definitely going to be interesting. And we'll talk about it in the final thoughts. So let's get into it right now. So for my final thoughts for CEI Camber Energy going into tomorrow, if we end up having that pullback, I would love to see us hold up at least $1.22. As far as the level that you want to see us get past for resistance is right at $1.50. The moment we can get above $1.50, that's why this stock could easily get to $2. But we need to have that buying volume coming into the play, especially when we get to $1.50. I can see many that'll be looking to take some profits, but if we get past $1.50, like I said, the fireworks can continue. But one thing to be aware of though is keeping an eye on oil. We're seeing a lot of oil and energy plays that are bouncing up in the market. So I feel it is very important that you keep an eye on these variables that have big impacts on these stocks. If you are not doing that, I think you are taking a lot of risk, because the moment oil starts to pull back, these stocks will pull back heavy. And I'm talking about a lot of those big names that you see going around. I know inside of the Discord, some people were trading Husa, and there's also another one called Indo. So again, these plays, it's great. You're making money. You're killing it. Make sure you're using the right risk management. Make sure you're protecting your profits, because this is not going to last forever. Stocks just don't go straight up. So when they do pull back, you want to make sure you protect those profits and you don't turn your trade red. I want to make sure I'm emphasizing this, because when stocks are going up, everyone's just watching the screen saying, hey, oh, it's going to keep going up. And then all of a sudden it goes down to red and they're just like, what? Again, I've been there, done that, got the t-shirt. I know many of you have gone through that as well. So have a game plan. That's why I always emphasize it. Also, when we went on Fintel, taking a look at the short interest information, it does continue to have short squeeze potential. And I'm not surprised by that, because there is a lot of negative market sentiment around this stock. And this company has a reputation of being seedy. So knowing that negative market sentiment, when you're seeing these strong moves to the upside, that's why you want to make sure you're moving up your stop losses to protect your profits. Because we have seen how Camber Energy has moved in the past, seeing it get to the $4 level, then pulling back, short reports and stuff like that. You want to make sure you're learning from your mistakes and you're building good habits. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and I can't wait to see what CEI does going into tomorrow. And remember, the key level we need to get past is $1.50. We'll talk soon.